happy to be here again today, and just going to review a little bit about what we did last week. And I'm so happy that Donna is co-presenting here today. Donna, you mentioned that there were some things in the video that you found helpful. So I think the way we'll do it today is I might show some things or demonstrate some things standing with a walker, and then Donna can demonstrate from her chair.
Donna, your experience is in teaching seated yoga and dance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. We're so excited to have you here along with our wonderful fitness trainer. So I think I'm very excited to see what we're doing today.
Yeah. Right. So I'm not sure if I'm the expert in the room either, because I'm a fitness trainer. I'm not a doctor or a PhD or anything like that, but I have a program in balance that that Nancy Volk, who is also affiliated with the FSHD Society, she introduced me to the society, and I'm very grateful to her for that. And then introduced me to Donna also, and so I'm really happy to just offer anything that I can here to. We talked about, so Donna, when you and I met yesterday, we talked about we talked about doing what you can. So even if it's something that gets demonstrated today that you can't do, just still allowing the mind to tell the muscles and nerves what to do and how to just keep on establishing the brain and body connection. And Donna, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. With muscle weaknesses and dystrophy, it's important to keep your brain in touch with your body so that you can move things, even if you need to help yourself or do it in a different way, because it keeps your muscles engaged and it keeps you with energy. And the can attitude or the I'll try attitude, and keeping the mind and the body together, and it works a world of wonders. It just helps, because you don't want to disconnect. You don't want to disconnect just because you can't do something. You want to always give yourself a chance. I think that's a good thing.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. And especially being a dancer, you understand that brain body connection so well. And so you were, you even told me about a situation when you were in physical therapy and going to stand up, and it felt like you couldn't do it, but somebody was in front of you. And so just really telling the muscles what to do over and over again, just kind of really just helped with everything. So, and I know that other trainers work with finding the workaround. So of course, we want to tell the muscles what to do, but finding the workaround can be important too. So the topic today is pretty much balance. And so balance is an effect of both contracting the right muscles at the right time and being able to hold isometrically. So there's two things that might help for people who have muscle weaknesses. And those two things are isometric exercise and speed training. So speed training might sound a little funny, but in other words, if we don't have the core strength to stabilize, if we can move the foot quickly to make a wider stance for ourselves, then that can help to keep us safe, or to maybe prevent a fall, or even if we fall, to make it that so that the fall isn't quite as bad. So so let's see, we talked about even if it's something small, make sure that you can for those of you, and I want to talk about People who have drop foot, could I say who, how many of you are experiencing drop foot? So, okay, a lot. Okay. So the good news is that for balancing, the ability to push into your toes is actually more important for balance than the ability to lift up your toes. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So shifting your weight forward and having that ability to push into the toes can be helpful. So yeah, so let's do the foot and ankle sequence. The same foot and ankle sequence that we did last week. We're going to do that again, and we'll see if we can go into it a little deeper and talk about some of the benefits of it. Okay, so I'm going to move back.
Oh boy, I don't know if you can see me now.
No, right now on my screen it seems to be just done. So hopefully, see you here. Okay, so everyone's going to be seated for this one. Okay. Right, so picking the foot up or just having it resting on the chair and lifting it as much as you can off the floor, even if it's just a little bit. And so we're gonna do just a normal ankle rotation. Same idea, if the foot can't lift, you just do what you can. You're just letting that circular motion of the foot happen. And you want to think about every muscle there in the ankle complex. This is one of the ones that Nancy found the most helpful in class, is the ankle sequence. So we're going to repeat it here. Nice deep breaths. All right, and now take it up to the top, pull it back as far as you can. And now in slow motion, push the foot all the way around slowly, deliberately focusing on trying to make the toe reach out bigger and bigger. Great. And ready? All right. And then when you're ready, go ahead and reverse the direction. Nice loose circles. Feel like you're loosening it up. Good. We're still on the same side, just going in a different direction. And ready? Slow motion. Push. Push. Feel every muscle going around. And you'll feel how when one side is contracting, the other side is lengthening. And it happens all the way around. Good, bring that up to the top. And now point and flex. Even if it doesn't lift up, that's okay. Just tell it to do so. And kind of, question yourself, like, where do I have the strength? Where is the strength? In that whole circumference, which muscles do I have the strength? I want you to feel like you're strengthening those. Okay, good. Last one on the side is you're gonna sweep the arch of the foot right and left. Sweep the arch of the foot right and left. Check in with your breathing while you're doing this as well. Sometimes when we're concentrating, we forget to breathe and we really have to bring the air, gotta bring the oxygen into the brain and the body. So keep on breathing deeply. And same thing, other side, and just, okay, so we're on the other leg now, and nice circles, round and round. Good. Foot going. Ready, slow motion, push. Pushing. Now, if you want to take your shoes off when you do this, that's fine. If any of you have the I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called, but the brace in the back, you could absolutely take that off to do this. I'm wearing what's called like a barefoot shoe, so it's easy for me because there's not much restriction in the back there. So point and flex. And you're just seeing how far, just how far. And then rest. And same idea. So sweeping the arches right and left now. And it's like the toe is pointing to 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. It's making like a tick-tock motion of the foot. All right, and place that down. Okay, so now I'm gonna ask. Okay. Boring is watching paint dry, right? Really dull. But these things when we repeat it over and over again, and a lot of what I teach is either really boring or it's really, really weird. And it's this boring stuff and weird stuff that can kind of get us, it's surprising how effective it can be if you allow yourself to do it and do it on a regular basis. So would anybody like to chime in about that? And Donna, we talked about how you felt about that ankle sequence yesterday a little bit. So we'll start with you, Donna, and then if anybody else wants to.
Yeah, it's very good to feel the space between every movement that you're making and just cover all the way around, really being meticulous about when you're doing it in slow motion. And sometimes I'm going to talk with my hands only because if I go far back, you're not going to see me. But
That's great. No, I love that. Yeah, because your hands are really expressive. I like that. I like that.
these are like my legs, but yeah, turning. I literally had my hands underneath my knee, like trying to pick it up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
it again, the connection between your body and your mind is very important.
yeah. Yes.
Muscle memory and kinesiology, like somewhere in the past, your muscle has done this, like it has done it.
That's right. So there's a muscle memory somewhere in the past. That's a really good point. Somewhere in the past, my muscles did this. Our muscles did this, and so there's some muscle memory there that you can start to tap into. Yeah. Okay, great. Great. And you also mentioned yesterday, and so anybody else before we go on, anybody else want to chime in about the ankle rotations?
Oh, everyone's shy.
Okay. Okay.
I've done those as part of the exercises I do laying on the bed. I also do them when seated, but doing it in bed, and I can lift it up a little bit if I want to, but I can just sort of do it, and yeah, it's a good way to stretch some of the muscles before I get up.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and doing it laying on your back in bed, it completely kind of it changes our relationship to gravity, so we're not lifting up the leg quite as it might not be as hard to lift up. So the slow motion, that slow motion push is really what we want to emphasize, is doing a regular ankle rotation and then doing the slow motion ankle rotation where you're really pushing every part of that, pushing hard into that range of motion. Okay, great. Thank you, Helen. So, okay. So the next thing we have is another seated exercise. And so let's do toe wiggling. So the wiggling of the toes is really, really important. So even if I backed up, you wouldn't even be able to see my toes wiggling because they're inside my shoes. but you really want to move the toes around as much as you can. Moving and moving your fingers too. Bringing that awareness into your extremities can be really, really helpful. So let's do that right now. So go ahead, you can do this sitting right where you are, and go ahead and wiggle your toes vigorously inside of your shoes. And so, and is there anybody who would have problems with that? Or is that, can you feel what I'm talking about? Like working the muscles inside of the shoe, like against the insides of your shoes. That makes sense?
Yes,
Great.
like this.
Great. Yes, like that. Yeah. And trying to kind of move each toe individually. And you want to feel every muscle in the foot. You want to keep the feet active. The magic of balance, I always say it's in the toes. So our toes are so powerful in helping us balance. Our toes, not because they can move, they send information to the brain about the surface that we're on. And so even so that's something that you can always do. And just by moving your toes, you're activating muscles in the rest of the foot. And then as you're wiggling your toes, swish your feet around inside of your shoes. You know, swish your feet around inside of your shoes. And I know many of you, I'm gonna demonstrate with the walker here. You're saying, you're supporting yourself, leaning on the walker. Bring your feet into parallel as much as you possibly can. So let's do this. If we have back here, I'm standing here. Push yourself up on your hands as much as you can so that your feet can go parallel with each other. And then just kind of swish your feet around inside of your shoes. If you're seated, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But you're going to find this little push-pull ability kind of back and forth, side to side, diagonally, all around. You feel this swishing and wiggling motion in the shoes, or just if you're in bare feet. So just by show of hands, by doing that, how many people felt something in your ankles as you did that? Yes, Donna, you felt it. Anna, Nina, okay, great. Mary, sort of, kind of, sort of, okay. Marlene, yes. Okay, so that is like, that's a response in the connective tissue of the joints, and it strengthens the connective tissue in the joints. So the wiggle and swish we've found is really effective for allowing for your ankles to stay stronger, because the connective tissue in the joint gets stronger doing that. So again, it's boring, it's weird, but it's really effective. And so the strong, flexible ankles is really what we want to keep having as much as possible. Any questions on that? Go ahead, Donna. Yes.
The what I want to say is the squishing of the toes.
Yes.
Feeling all your toes flat, and you're feeling there's muscles around your ankle, correct? Right?
Yes.
So the wraparound is being strengthened by the squishing of the toes.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. So that wrap around, that the wrapping around that the muscles do to protect that joint, that's what's being strengthened. Yes. Fantastic. Okay. So now let's move on to trunk mobility and stability. So we'll review an exercise that we did last time, which was like the seated cat and cow. And then we're going to go on and do an additional exercise after that from the chair as well. So go. So go ahead and grab onto the back of your chair. So if you can, scoot yourself forward on your chair. And then reach around and grab the back of it if you can. If you can't do that, and I'll show you kind of from the side here, you can always grab onto the bottom of the chair or wherever you can, but if you can just scoot yourself a little more forward so that you have room, and so you're kind of not up against the back of the chair. Ready? And so we're going to take a nice deep breath and inhale and look up. And then exhale and contract, tuck your chin. Good. And then you lift up, breathe in, and then exhale strong and feel like you're tightening your stomach muscles, rounding the back. So even if it's just lifting the chin, even if all you can do is just lift the chin and put it down, what you're going to do is you're going to allow for that slow movement to continue, and it will allow for more and more mobility through the spine eventually. So even if the whole spine doesn't move the way you'd like it to move, it's the repetition of it that will allow for the mobility. And then exhale. And lifting up. So, and take this at your own pace and at your own breathing rate too. And if you can hold on to the back of the chair, then use that as resistance to kind of, when you lift up, it's kind of lifting your chest upwards. So you're kind of lifting the heart. Deep breath, and then exhale as you round down. Going gently. Wonderful. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly begin to bring that to a close. Just a few minutes each. All right, great. The next one was one that Donna, you mentioned that this one was important to you yesterday. Would you like to lead us through this one?
Sure.
The side to side one?
Oh yeah, this is good for the abdominals. I can't talk. And taking your arms side to side, or you can keep them here, or you could just keep them here, or holding onto your chair, whatever works for you and your body. And you just go side to side. Try to keep the little space behind your chair so that it's really your muscles in the abdomen that are working. These ones right here. And pulling your navel to your spine. Navel to your spine, because that's going to engage your core. Which, whether you're seated, standing, is really important. Or we can do it like this. Breathing as well, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And relax. Take a little minute. I feel it in my abdomen because I was pulling my navel straight back to my spine as I was trying to do those abdominals. Good job, everyone's doing excellent.
Fantastic. Okay, so this is, it's almost, it's like a rib slide, right? You're sliding your rib cage back and forth. And that is so great for the obliques. It's great trunk mobility. All right. Okay, super. Okay, any questions on these so far? Okay.
I've started doing something like that just in the last week.
Oh,
If
did you?
something's in the microwave for not very long, a minute or two,
Yeah.
and I stand there, I sometimes do some simple exercises while I'm there. And I started and just with my feet together but stepped back a bit and holding on to the counter, and then just do sort of trunk circles. And it's the same kind of movement. And I've also done the side to the side, which also gives me some balance, because I think that's where I sort of got it from the exercise you did last time, where you shift your weight from one leg to the other.
Yes.
I'm doing, yeah.
Shift. Well, that's
And
great.
I noticed when I started doing the trunk circles,
Mhm.
that it was the abdominals that were getting worked out. And I thought, oh, this is a good one.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, great, great. So that's really helpful. Yeah, anytime you can do exercises, if you have that little bit of time, like waiting for the microwave, or maybe brushing your teeth or anything, just give yourself a little challenge in that moment. That moment, those moments that you have there. That's great. That's great. A little challenge or a little exercise. So I'm glad to hear that the weight shift exercise is important. We actually have 4 that we do in class there, and we talk about there's balance, which is our standing stability. And then there's also agility, which is our moving balance, our dynamic balance. And so the 4 movements that we do are the weight shift. We do a step tap side to side, step and tap, step and tap. We do an up and over, meaning lifting the foot as high as we can, lifting the knee as high as we can. And then we do foot speed. So those are the 4 there's the 4 basic movements that we do. So if you can incorporate any of those into your daily routine, that's all really good. And I can demonstrate those if you're interested. So great. Okay. Great. Thanks, Helen. So let's talk about foot speed for a second here. And how much the weight shift, even if you're in your chair, or even if you can only be in the chair, just pushing your feet into the ground one side and then the other is a weight shift, because your muscles are letting that pushing off feeling, and letting the body figure out the side to side motion. Yeah, great. Oh, this is great. I see everybody doing it. It's wonderful. Great. And Donna, you were even saying yesterday how this is so helpful, right?
It is, because that's in my physical therapy, which that is the first thing you do when I fractured my hip, and when I also later fractured my kneecap. They do balance shifting, and you have to start somewhere. So you can start in your chair, and just a little bit of an oomph there,
Yeah,
right to left.
great.
And the mind will visualize what that weight shifting, how you get your balance.
Yeah, yeah. And the muscles can do what they can to accommodate for it. Because when you think about a weight shift, it sounds so simple, but there's so much going on with it.
Mhm.
When you think about it, even if it's a small weight shift, what's happened is you're accelerating in this direction, then you're stopping. You have to decelerate and accelerate in the other direction, and then decelerate and accelerate. So, and it happened when you shift side to side, your muscles are doing that even faster than I can say it. So it's amazing that there's so much going on. So even the simplest exercises, never discount how powerful it is and how much is actually going on in the exercise. So, so would you like to do that run right now? Let's do a weight shift, and then maybe we can even go on to the other four. So just by poll, tell me what's most helpful to you. Would it be the basic movements, or are you more interested in standing balance? Because we'll do both. I just would like to know what's more, what do you think would be most valuable to you?
For me, being in a chair, I can do just this weight shift
Mm-hmm.
from right to left, still feeling my sit bones downward and my foot firmly on the pedal of the wheelchair,
Mm-hmm.
and going from right to left. Because then if I get assistance from physical therapy or from anybody, I can feel that while kind of standing, holding on to the counter or whatever.
Great.
It's what you were saying, Jackie, and it's so true. Like, you got to walk before you can run, and before you can walk, you got to go sidestep.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, great. So, so the standing up, oh, let me do a standing up. So Marlene, you mentioned right before I'm going to stand up and start to do some of the basic movements. Marlene, you mentioned about standing. And when you stand up, when you're trying to, put your nose over your toes and push off and come up, that it's through here that starts to fold. So what I'm wondering is, if you were to sit with your feet nice and wide apart, with your toes kind of pointed out to the side, and everybody, you can try this with us if you like, and then rest your hands on top of something in front of you, like a desk, so that you wouldn't be bending your back, and then just push through your heels and try to stand up from there without. So you're leaning a little bit forward, and the feet are wide apart.
So, yeah, I rely on my arms to get up in that.
And you're relying on your arms. Okay. So just doing it with the feet wider apart it may give you a little more leverage with the legs. If not, but like I said last time as well, keep doing what works for you. Keep doing what works for you. So if that means it's toes pointed forward with heels back so that you can lean into your toes and you feel, or if it's a wider base that works better, seeing what, but either way, use your arms, press yourself up and see if that's the rocking up.
Yeah. In either case, I have to do this S movement with my.
Yeah, right. So that serpentine kind of movement, right? So you're getting the momentum and stacking everything so that the physics of it brings it up. Okay, brilliant. That's great. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Now we're all gonna stand up, and if you like, you can do this from seated. Donna's going to continue to do this from her chair. So even the side to side movement, she's going to continue to move her feet. Standing up. Yeah. And you can hold on to something in front of you. Let me see if I'll back up a little bit more so that you can see what we're doing here.
I have a table in front of me, and what I'm doing is I'm seated, but I'm trying to engage my glutes, my rear end.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Engaging the glutes.
And then relax and then up. And yeah.
And that's good. And that's good. So that's an isometric hold, tightening the muscles and releasing. That's great. Okay. So let's do, let's do the weight shift first. I don't know if you can see all of me in screen.
Oh, everyone's standing, that's fantastic.
So here we go. So the weight shift, let's practice the weight shift out and in. Now you can do this with a marching motion. And then you can do this supported, and of course, with the walker. I don't even know if I need to demonstrate with the walker because it's kind of intuitive. You just have this in front of you holding on. It's just that with this, you can see my feet better than if I were to stand holding onto a chair. We shift over. So we want to feel not, in addition to the weight shift happening, you want to feel like a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So there's this motion vertically as well as to the side. Does that make sense? Good. Ready? And other side. When you're ready, go ahead and switch to, yeah. Feel how your toe probably gets to the floor first. That's good. Toe goes to the floor first, heel goes second. And then you're pushing through the floor, push through the floor to bring yourself back. So the foot is catching you and pushing you back. Catch, push. Catch, push. Yeah, catch, push. Great. All right. Next movement we'll do is step and tap. So this time, rather than having the weight out here and then bringing it back to center, we're actually going to see if we can move the weight side to side. If you're seated, then you're just moving your feet side to side and feeling weight onto one hip and then into the other hip. Yes. And take this at your own pace. Side steps. And if you like, you can even practice side steps in sequence several times to the right, several times to the left, okay? So you can actually go a few in one direction and then a few in the back in the other direction. And keep your feet as parallel as possible so that when you lead there, you're leading with the side of your foot. Side of your foot. And again, your toe is going to get there first. Your toe is going to get there first. Great. Very nice. Okay. Any questions about that? All right. The next one is the up and over. Up and over is lift as high as you can. And then, so we're going to imagine that there's an obstacle that we have to step over, right? So hold on to something as you're doing this. Lift up and over and up and over. This one's a little more tricky. So what we're combining is like a marching motion combined with the side to side step. We're putting those two movements together when we do this one. Up and over, and over, up and over. Great. Okay. We do fewer of those because they're a little more tiring. Okay, how's everybody doing? Tell me. Thumbs ups? Great. All right, great. Okay, so and then the last one we do is the scoot or the foot speed. So what you want to do is you want to step. This is very small, but you're just moving your feet quickly from side to side. So side to side. Yeah. That's right. And it's a really small bit, because sometimes we just have to scoot ourselves just a few inches to get safe, right? But the important thing with this one is that we're moving quickly and then we're holding still. So in other words, practicing moving quickly and stabilizing. So if I move quickly and I don't stabilize, then I'm just going to keep on going with that momentum. But look at how you can do this. You can move your feet quickly, let the body follow right on top, and then you can stick the landing. Right? Great. So even if it's small, foot 1, 2, 1, 2. Just let one foot follow the other as fast as it can. Really good. Okay. So the next ones we can do sitting. So any question about those 4? So those 4, take those with you and practice them anytime, every day. The weight shift, the side steps, the up and over, and the scoot. Great. Okay, so let's talk about foot speed now. So foot speed is something so incredibly interesting. They're finding now in athletic training, they're training for speed in athletes in all new ways. And as I said at the beginning of the class, like, it's weird. It's a weird way to train, but it's really effective. And it's very energizing to the whole body. So those of us who aren't athletes, the benefits that you feel from this are really, really great. And this, it will help it'll help you with your agility, and it'll help with muscle innervation. So that's the reason why I'm combining this into a balance class. All right, so let's do, now we only have, looks like about 11 minutes left. Anna, is that correct?
I'm looking at maybe 14 minutes left, a little more time. I think, we can go over, we can go a little bit long. People can stay if they have the time.
Okay.
And, they can come back to it later. We are recording.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. So, let's do some speed first, some speed work. And so what we'll do is we'll start with running our feet. So we're going to start with running our feet as quickly as we can. So get that right, left pattern. Just like that. Great. Nice and quick. Fast as you can. Good. And you're just going to keep on doing this. And here's the most important thing, is that you have to breathe while you're doing it. You have to take really nice deep breaths. If you do speed work while holding your breath, that would be actually very dangerous. And we can increase our blood pressure too. So we want to keep on breathing when we're doing any kind of speed training. All right, and rest. Go ahead and rest. Now, what you might feel is some tingling in the legs. You might feel some tingling in the legs. So we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to run with our hands too. So get that all together, hold your wrist nice and still, and move your hands just like this. Yes, just like that. Now I want you to breathe really deeply. Now run with your feet and your hands, and go quick, and breathe, and go. Faster. Good. It doesn't matter. Even if you feel like you're going slow, you're going as fast as you can. Good. Ready? Are you breathing? And 3, 2, 1, and let's rest. Okay. And now just bounce your heels. just bounce your heels and kind of getting a bouncing motion through your legs. Great. All right. How's that? How do you feel right now?
Tingly.
Tingly? Yeah.
All-
Anybody feel like their cardio went up a little bit there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great, good. So yeah, so it will get the heart rate up. It's gonna get your heart rate up. And even if you just do your hands, you could do hands and fists, you could go back and forth. But this idea of speed, you can even do something like tapping on the sides of your chair. So in other words, and this is called, they call it different things in training. They call it the flutter, like a flutter kick, like when swimmers do a flutter kick, they call it flutters. And they call it the shake, and they call it the tremble. So even if you can't completely flutter, it might just feel like a shake. It might just feel like a shakiness, right? But if you want to tap the sides of your chair right here, just like this, and breathe. And you can do this while you're running your feet too, or you can do it just still, but just doing this, just light taps on the side. Breathe. And you'll ideas will start to come to you. So even, anything, and you can go ahead and rest. And you might feel tingling in your fingers now, just like a little energized, okay? So think of all different ways to do this. If you can have your legs straight in front of you with, if you can have your legs straight in front of you, and if you can do a flutter kick, that's great. The other word that they call it is tantrum kicks. They call it because it's like you're having a tantrum. So you can do this on your bed. Again, I know it sounds weird, but you can actually, if you're laying face down or face up, just kind of punch and kick into the mattress. You'd be amazed how it gets your cardio up, and it really activates your muscles. People can get very strong very fast doing these kinds of exercises. So go ahead. Yes.
No. I was just saying, I feel my pulse rate. I went to my neck and I felt it increase. The energy, it's getting.
Okay, great. Yeah, and it's kind of a mood elevator. And the more we get the blood flowing, then getting that blood flow to the brain is really, really important. So every time that you can do something that gets your heart rate up safely is really, really important. So, all right. Okay, so now the last thing that we'll do is static balance, standing balance. And I'm going to show you the principles behind standing balance as well. So here we go. So come up from your chair safely as you like, if you're participating with it. If you're just observing, it's okay. Observing is also learning. All right. So want to make sure that you're in a safe place. So if for you, safe is standing next to a chair to have something to hold on to, that's great. If you want to hold on to the wall, that's great too. There's another way that you can practice, which is finding a corner. And standing in the corner, I'll show you just here. I'm going to take this little corner right here, so that your shoulders are supported. Can you guys see me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
So that you're supported here, and then you can have walker or either two chairs here. So you might need help, if you need help getting this set up. But once you have it, you've got stuff here to hold on to, and you've got the wall you're standing there with the walls in back of you. Right? So now you're going to shift your weight over to one foot. Pull up and out of your supporting hip. And then you're going to tap the foot and release it from the floor. Now, I know a lot of people have, if you have to hyperextend your knee, absolutely. Absolutely, you know, so it's however you normally stand. If you can stand with your knee slightly bent or supported with your knee slightly bent, then you can try that. And you want to get yourself situated to where you feel this in your ankle, where you're feeling that little tremble. And then the tap and release from the chair. Tap and release from the chair, and tap and release from the floor. And then if you're leaning against the wall, try to shift forward away from the wall. So you see how tactile this is. This is very sensory. So you're feeling the wall in back of you is giving you the signal to move more forward. And then if you fall more forward, then if you fall forward, then you're using the chair to stabilize and give you the signal to come back, or you can use your foot. So this is with a single leg balance. And then then you can switch sides. So when you feel that side get fatigued, go to the other side. And so you're going to use that feeling of tipping over. And when you start to feel like you're tipping over, touch and release. Touch and release. Because what the tap and release will do is it's actually it'll help so that you can keep yourself in the challenge as long as possible. And you're probably feeling, who's feeling the shake? Who's feeling the wobble with this? Yes? Okay. So the magic is in the wobble. That's your muscles and nerves talking to each other. Whenever you challenge yourself and you're feeling it wobble, it's muscles and nerves talking and communicating. And that's what you want to keep going. That's what you want to keep happening. Okay. So tap and release, tap and release. And make sure that you're in a safe position when you're doing it. Everybody looks great. Everybody looks great. Okay. All right. So there you go. So the tap, or maybe holding on. Sometimes we have to hold on with our whole hand. Well, maybe just with an open hand. Or maybe with just fingers, or 2 fingers, or 1 finger, and tap and release. Tap and release. Okay. Okay. Any questions on that? Do you see how when you use the tap, you can actually keep yourself in the challenge for longer?
Yeah.
Great.
I couldn't tell when you were, because with your dark pants and shoes, when
Oh,
you
I'm
were
sorry.
standing your tap and release, were you flexing at the hip to lift your leg up and then putting it right back down?
Correct.
I couldn't see exactly what you're doing.
That's right. So let me do it a little closer here. So I was here.
Okay. Oh, now I can see that better.
Tap and
Yes.
release. Okay, so every time I feel like I'm about to fall, just that little tap is enough. It's kind of giving the system more information. It gives the system more information because our balance is based on 3 things, maybe more. Our equilibrium, our vision, our proprioception, the stability in our of our muscles and things like that. So when one, for instance, if one gets compromised, then we can rely on the others. So if one system is compromised, we just rely on the others then. Okay. Everybody tired? No? All right, we're almost at the top of the hour here. So this is great.
I
Just
feel like
so-
I have muscles in a good way.
Okay, good. So, all right. So that's everything that I have for today. Donna, how about you? Is there anything else would you like to?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to be a little pep talker for a little bit because it's really difficult. But if you do something, it's better than just saying, I'm just going to be here and I'm not going to try and I'm not going to try to move anything because I just can't. But the fact is that when you try these things, it only makes the muscles remember, where that's the hope. And I think it does work to make them remember things. Because if you don't use them, then you're just like, forget it. So that's it. And I want to thank you, Jackie, for teaching us this, and I want to thank Nancy Volk and you guys for getting this together. That's it.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for everyone for inviting me and and Donna, especially for your help this week in putting this together for today.